second, but I just got to tell you what a great guy he is.
He's going to tweet before he gets
We
it.
asked him to come and be here at the center to support the city of Derry, that's where he's from in the north of Ireland. If you like him, there's plenty more where that came from up there in Derry. But it's just a wonderful fella, very well-mannered, very impressive, how down to earth he is, and friendly. And I can see why you're all fans. So I'm just killing a little time until he says, I'm here. And then we'll get started. But he's very interesting. Well, you know, young Damian, as you know, was originally discovered by Phil Coulter. Started with Celtic Thunder at the age of 14. And just turned 20 and finished, or still doing the Glee project, I'm not sure. But he's here with us today, and he's very happy to
Are you going to bring up your voice?
Damian, are you in the room? Come on out.
Good morning, or afternoon. How's everybody? Thank you for coming out today. I appreciate it. It's a pleasure being here in Chicago. First of all, I want to thank iBAM for having me. It's so far it's been a lot of fun. There's still 2 days left. I love my time in Chicago. It's been about 2 years since I've been here now, so it's great to be back. It really is. And yeah, we have another show here tomorrow night. Last night's show was amazing. It was a lot of fun. It was my first time being on stage with Phil Coulter for about over a year now. So it was good to be back on stage with him. And yeah, we have another show tomorrow night, which is going to be fun. And I'm here today to do. Can I take a little seat here?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Of course you can.
Yeah, I'm here for a little question answer, whatever you want to know. Whatever questions you have, burning you up about anything.
I think what we'll do is we'll ask folks to raise their hands, and then I'll point at you, and then I'll come to you. Does anybody have a question? Come on, I know you want to. I'm going to come around. What's your name? Emily, will you stand up?
Hey, all right, Emily. How are you?
Good, how are you?
Good.
Okay, what's your favorite drink to get at Starbucks?
I love America has turned me into coffee man. Really have. I'm terrible at what I do is drink coffee, but I love caramel macchiatos there. So bad, it's not funny. I drink it, I feel my insides like curling upside the wire you do. But I like English breakfast tea as well, which is just a normal cup of tea back home, which I actually got about 10 minutes ago for it. Big Starbucks. But thank you. Anybody else?
Damian, this is Stephanie.
Hi, Stephanie.
Stand up.
Can you sign my violin?
Can I sing your violin? Yes, I can sing your violin.
We'll do this in a little while.
We'll do, yeah. I think I'm doing like a signature and photo thingy after. But do you play a violin?
Ashling is also a violin player, I believe.
Yeah.
Have you got a question?
Yeah, question. When was your like biggest moment where you're like, oh my god, I want to be by celebrities? When was like a big like shocking moment?
I think probably, I remember, obviously the very first day being a Glee fan anyway, and watching the show when it started back home in the UK and Ireland. It was very much kind of just a little weird. I was walking on set the first day and everybody was getting in and welcome to the cast. And it was very cringe-worthy, it was like, is this really happening? But then it's crazy, because in Hollywood it's weird. There's a lot of events that you kind of have to go to, even though I hate all those things. I would much rather curl up in bed and just have coffee or tea or something. But no, you have to go to a lot of events, and I went to an event before, and I met one of my heroes. I met Leonardo DiCaprio, and I remember that really struck me. And I remember standing there, and I was very, very surreal, but that was the moment when I thought, yeah, life is going all right.
What's your name?
I'm not yet.
Hi, Mike.
What's the first thing you want to do when you go back home to Ireland?
Go to a pub. Only time I miss playing football. I used to playing football growing up as a kid. I played for Ireland under 16s when I was 14, and then I left for a singing career. But I used to love playing football, I really did. And I miss it. But I just love, all the normal things like, hanging out with your family, your friends, getting all that kind of catch up, having a laugh. Especially, it's always nice because the periods I go home is when a couple of weeks in the summer when everybody's off school, and then at Christmas when everybody's together and everybody's home from college and off school again. So it's the only time I get to go home. I only go home like 4 weeks of the year, but it is worth it when I get there. And there's a lot more. So, yeah. Dennis, sorry. I knew you off Twitter, Dennis. I see you on Twitter all the time.
But I was just wondering what your current plans are. What kind of things are you doing? Do you see yourself more going into acting or continuing on into singing?
My future plans are at the minute. It's always very complicated because if you announce anything in this world of crazy show business, you get into a lot of trouble. But yeah, they actually took a big turn on Friday night. So something really interesting happened Friday night. But November's going to be a big month. People's going to find out what's going to hopefully happen next in my career. That's the plan. So yeah. And I have an EP coming out myself and my roommate, Cameron Mitchell, which is yeah, he's a great guy. We lived together after the Glee project finished. It's about a year and a half now. He keeps me well behaved, keeps me in line. He's a real down to earth, like just a normal Christian. I'm obviously, a Christian as well, but he's very much well more behaved than me. So living with him is great. So yeah, he's a great guy. We're working on an EP at the minute, which is going to be a very different sound to what I've previously done, and that's going to be released in November also, so that's
I should have brought
Hi, Karen.
Cam's bad quality.
Who was your best friend on the Glee cast?
All the guys were great. The whole cast was amazing. Like, the girls were stunningly beautiful and really, waking up and going to makeup at 5 a.m. beside Diana Agnew. It's pretty alright. But, all the guys are amazing. Kevin McHale and Cord Overstreet. I love Cord Overstreet, who plays on the Sam, of course. He's a great guy. And then Samuel Larson, who was my co-winner on the Glee project itself, is we had obviously had a lot of common coming into the show as the newbies, and he's also a great guy. So everybody got on great. It really was a big family because you see each other so much. You're with each other 5 days a week for like 12 hours a day at least. So you have to like each other basically.
Sir? What's your name?
Barry Ball.
Do you still see any of the Glee actors outside? Still friends? Or?
Yeah, we keep in touch. It's kind of, that's the thing. It's very much. It's not like it's a career friendship, as in you're only friends because you work together as such. But it is very much that we're a certain type of people where we're just absolutely driven by what you want to achieve, by what you want to, by your ambitions. So it's very much. My best friends from back home, I barely talk to them when I'm out here because they're following their life and I'm following mine, and it's kind of you kind of live in the moment a little. But we keep in touch. I just kind of keep up to date and see how it's going, and as I say, they're all great guys with a lot of time for us. So hope it's good.
Hi, Lori.
Hi, Laurie. How are you?
Good, how are you? I just wanted to know, when, at the point in your life where you were like, music, that's it, I'm going down that path, and there's no other
I remember I went on holidays with my family. We went to Turkey, which is my first time in Turkey. My second time was last year. Probably never go back. But it was, I was about 6 years old. I was with my family, and there was at the back of our hotel. It was just like a karaoke competition, and I remember saying, "Oh, Mom and Dad, can I go and sing? Can I go and sing?" And they were like, "No, David, absolutely not. Like, stay where you are." No, I want to sing. Like, I never sung. Well, I mean, I used to sing in my bedroom, but nobody. I was 6 years old. I was a little kid. It was like, I lost my 2 front teeth, and like, it was whatever. And I was like, I want to sing. They were like, stay where you are. So anyway, I went behind the back, which I have been guilty of a few times. But I put my name forward, and I sang a song from a UK band, Boyzo, called No Matter What. And I remember what happened. The girls were up before me. They were giving out a score out of like 100 or something. I was 6 years old. It was such a blur memory. But they got like 97.3. I don't know how they did the results. But it was a nice, these girls, 97.3, so they were going crazy. Yeah, we're winning. And I went up. And then I sang, and they shouted out 100. And I looked around. Wait a second, what? My mom and dad were just sitting there, shaking their heads. And I remember I won the competition. From there on, every year on holidays, I just kept singing in the karaoke competitions every year. And I won myself a few euro. And I just went from there and just realized that I love singing. That's what I wanted to do. And, so yeah, that's pretty much it.
Gina's next, Dan.
Hey, what is it like going from like Celtic Thunder to like Glee? Like, is it like really different? Like, I know like you act and sing on Glee, but like when you were in Celtic Thunder, like a lot of people knew you. But do you feel like now you're like even bigger? Like,
yeah, I mean, Celtic Thunder was very much, directed towards a certain audience. It's obviously it's a PBS following, and it brought at the time it brought a huge change in my life. It really did. And it was a huge level of fame that I did think possible. Fame is a very, very weird thing. But I remember Celtic Thunder, it was an amazing time touring America 4 times and releasing like 7 PBS specials, like 8 albums. It was unbelievable, and the guys are still my brothers, and I love them very much. We were a family. But then I have to say, it blew my mind coming into Glee. It's just a different stratosphere altogether. It really is. It's a different world of fame and such, and it's crazy. It really is. And it's important to kind of keep your feet on the ground. My mom and dad do that. Like even if I'm doing something stupid, my mom will be the first person on the phone, even if it's 4 a.m. my time or 4 a.m. her time, I'll be able to plan it. She'll be on the phone and tell me, what's right and what's wrong. And it's important to kind of have that behind you and to keep you grounded and to keep who you are. But to answer your question, this is a whole different level of craziness.
Emma's up next.
Hi.
Hi, I'm alright.
Good, how are you? Well, I really liked your cover of Run, and I was wondering if you would think about writing any of your own songs.
Thank you. Yes, I've actually started working on it. I'm actually in the early stages of working with Warner Brothers at the minute. I had a meeting with them last month, and actually I think I'm going to the recording studio tonight here in Chicago. But we're going to start doing a bit of writing in the new year, hopefully, and trying to figure out sound as to how I want to advance in my career. Potentially, look at my album, whatever that may be, which is something I've always wanted to do. So the plans, early plans are starting maybe tonight. So yeah.
Erica.
Hi, I'm Erica.
Hi, Erica.
I have a question.
I like your hat.
What?
I like your hat.
Oh. So you've toured around a lot of places. Where was your favorite place to tour and visit? Like, what city's your favorite?
What city is my favorite?
this one.
No, I really do love Chicago, though, I have to say. I mean, I have been here. I've been here 5 or 6 times previous, but I haven't been here now in about 2 years. And that's the thing I do miss about the whole touring, part of the business is that, I don't get to really, see as many cities anymore. And it's kind of more long flights now. Like, in September I did 2 flights back and forth from London, which is like 12 hours. Next month I'm possibly Singapore, which is like a 16-hour flight, so it's more really, traveling to really huge markets and not really seeing the inner cities in America, which makes me sad because I used to love that part, like touring on a bus, going to all the different venues, meeting all the different people. It was always amazing. But I do love Chicago. It was one city that absolutely scared me. I'm sorry if anyone is from this city. I'm quite like to here. But Detroit. Me and Paul Byron, Celtic Thunder, we had a night off in Detroit. Actually, we walked to the cinema and it was just a little weird. People were looking at us. But another story, we were at the show in Detroit. And our bus was parked right outside the stage door, and we just took a sound check. And me and the lads were saying, right, we're going to go back out to the bus here, relax a bit before the show starts. And then the security guard looked at us and says, wait a second, I'll go with you. I just need to grab my gun. I said, nah, fine, I'll stay in the theater, I'm grand. So yeah, Detroit's a little weird. Hi, how are you?
I'm good, how are you?
Good.
I was wondering who your biggest role model is.
My biggest role model? It's a good question. There's a UK artist I love called Guy Farlow. I don't know if a lot of you know him, but he's one of my models, but I have to say I love Michael Bublé as well. He's someone I've kind of always started looking up to in the last 5 or 6 years. But there's a lot of people, I think it's interesting to look at like people my age that are, doing like the kind of Selena Gomez's or Justin Bieber kind of person. They're doing. It's very easy to look up to them as well because they're like massive. Justin Bieber is like the biggest thing that's ever walked the planet, and yet he still seems very well grounded. You rarely hear anything bad about him. That's amazing for me to kind of pick that example and follow that lead.
I have a question. Do you think you'd ever do a show like Glee? Like if it was a different show with Glee? Would you do something like that?
A show like Glee, but not Glee. I don't know. That's an interesting question. I would say yes, absolutely. I would love to. It's really, but I think Glee is a very unique kind of thing. I can't see when Glee goes. I'm not entirely sure, which I don't know when it's going to happen. Take that into concept. But whenever Glee does finish in 5 or 6 years or whatever it'll be, I'm not terribly sure, if something's going to be. I'm not sure if someone's going to be able to kind of follow on from that because it's so incredible. But who knows? And yeah, I love it. It's an amazing show. It's the whole singing and acting. It's really unique, and not a lot of people get to do that. So, yeah, I love it.
Hi, I'm Laura Quigley. My husband's from Barrie.
Yeah, he is. Is he here? How are you, sir? How are you, miss?
Kids and my husband spend the summer in Barrie every year, and we're wondering if you're going to be at the City of Culture this year.
Oh, absolutely. There's a lot of events happening in Derry. I don't think we're allowed to talk about them yet. It's kind of very very hidden. But yeah, we're going to be doing a lot of flying back and forth from LA and Derry to do a lot of events and concerts. And I'm excited. It's such an honor for our city to be, for this to happen to us. And in my opinion, I think it's about time because I've played in Derry my whole life, and obviously apart from last year and a half. And it was an amazing city to grow up in. And I never had any trouble. Always, people are so supportive. From day one, from my career, I've had so much support back home from the people of Derry. There's so much talent in Derry. People don't understand. It's kind of. There's so many singers, I know so many singers that are just unbelievable that nobody knows about. And there's just something weird about Derry City, and it's nice that it's being finally recognized for next year. I'm very excited. Hi.
What was your favorite thing to be a child?
I just got here. But at the minute to kind of perform here and just be in my hotel room and go to the gym, pretty much. But I wish I had longer here. I have to take a red eye back on Sunday night to work on Monday evening. But It's ridiculous. In LA, it's like constantly hot, which is nice. And you know, when I go home for a couple of weeks, I can't wait to get back to the heat. But when it's 24/7, always there, and you never see rain. Like this morning, I woke up and it was raining, and I was like, so it's nice that you go somewhere where the seasons and all that. That's fun. Chicago's on.
Chrissy? Hi, I'm Chrissy.
Hi, Chrissy.
What do you miss the most besides touring from Celtic Thunder?
I miss the lads. I really miss working with the lads. They're all great people. I mean, you know, obviously, I was with, you know, the very original first five, you know, myself, Paul, Keith, George, and Ryan. And then the new guys, obviously Neil was there as well. But they're all amazing fellas, and I really, really do miss working with them and kind of, you know, spending that time that we did together. But, you know, it's kind of, and then the new guys come in and done an amazing job. You know, the show's still going, and I absolutely wish them my best, and I will go see them when they're in LA in December, I believe. So yeah, I'll go see them now for sure. I went to see them last year in San Diego, because they were in LA the night before when I was working. So myself and I pulled along a few friends, and we went to San Diego, took a road trip, went to see them, and it was very weird. It was my first time kind of, you know, sitting there and watching them. And after growing up and being taught a lot of things, for lack of there's some stories. There's some stories. I don't know how much time you have. But I taught a lot. I just grew up with the guys, and you know, they all mean a lot to me. It's kind of Celtic Thunder will always have a huge place in my heart. And yeah, going to see them and sitting in the audience was very weird. Very weird.
Siobhan?
Hi, Siobhan.
What was your favorite song you sang in Glee?
My favorite song in Glee was probably Home. It was a lot of fun. It's a song I've always liked. It's a song that's kind of followed me around. I think it was Celtic Thunder as well. So when Ryan said you're doing this, it was weird. It was kind of like, all right, why not? But yeah, it was a good song to do. But I really wanted to do something on beach. I never really got the chance. It was kind of standing there. So. But yeah, Home was my favorite for sure.
Before Kara goes, Damian, would you give us a line from a song?
Early morning bus here at Florence. I'll sing let's just sing a verse of poem, shall we? Another summer day is coming our way. After so we'll wanna go home.
Oh my God.
Maybe surrounded by a million people, I still feel all alone. I wanna go home. Oh, I miss you, you know. Hi, Sarah, how are you? She bumped her note. Hi.
What advice do you have for other performing artists out there in terms of pursuing their dreams?
Alright, this is a question that I really love answering because, I mean, people always look at me and think, I get a lot of people saying, wow, like, you're incredible, like, going this far, and wow, you're really lucky, and, honestly, the thing is that I'm just like any other performer in this world. Like, I was the same kid that just loved singing. I was the same kid that was asking people that I loved, who were famous at the time, saying, what did you do to follow your dream? Like, what's your advice? And I was that kid, and for me, it's honestly a case of you have to, number one, you have to believe in yourself. Because, my thought process is, if you don't believe in yourself, how can you get someone that you want that person to hire you? If you don't believe in yourself, how can you get them to believe in you, to do the job? So first of all, you have to believe in yourself, and you have to know, yeah, I am good enough, and yes, I can do this, and yes, I am worthy. That's number one. Number two is that you have to work. There's a lot of work. People actually don't realize how much work is involved in doing this. mean, it's better than any other job in the world. It's not like, you know, going into a factory and grinding out for 12 hours. It's not like that at all. It's like, it's a different kind of work. But, you know, the thousands of miles that you put in, like I've been on probably over 1,000 planes in the last 6 years, which, you know, sometimes 3 planes a day, you know, simple things like that where you're thinking, sweet Lord, get me home, you know. But yeah, you have to show the work, you have to always want to get better, because no matter how good you are, there's always room for improvement in using performer, maybe in using person, maybe in how relatable you are to other people. Because I think being relatable is quite a big part of your battle. You know, there's a lot of incredibly talented people out there, but there's also a lot of people that are incredibly talented, but, you know, walk about the places that, yeah, I know I'm incredibly talented. Like, that's also not the way to do it. You know, you have to try and find that humbleness in you and realize that, you know, if someone has a singing voice, it is a gift from God. You know, you've been given it from God, and you have to share that with the world, and it's not to make you look good or make you feel good. So yeah, absolutely, believe in yourself, work hard, and you're going to be fine.
I'm Grace.
Hi, Grace.
Since I was really little, I've always been like a huge Frank Sinatra fan, so I was wondering, what is your favorite Frank Sinatra song?
I do love Frank Sinatra, though, I have to say. The whole Rat Pack thing really gets me going. It's just something you don't want to see. But I have to say, I just think My Way is obviously a classic, but it's just an unbelievable song. Now, I remember when my voice first broke. Yes, I became a man. Funny story, I recorded Puppy Love with Celtic Thunder. It was one of my first songs I recorded. And looking back, I still don't know how I hit those notes. I was in the studio, and I remember I very much was guilty of taking it for granted. And I was just like, yeah, like I'm 14, like let's bring this, like, you know, take one. The Celtic Thunder, they used to call me One Hit Wonder when I was a kid. I literally used to go in the studio and just blast out a song, and Phil Coulter used to sit there and just shaking his head. I mean, I don't know, I didn't understand anything back then. But and then I remember, like, a year later, my voice broke, and it was such a weird thing. It really was. Like, it's hard to explain. Like, girls are so lucky. Girls, you have it so lucky. Unless your voice breaks, which would be weird. That's a result of some, you know, science going on. But it has nature taking its toll, kind of thing. But I remember just waking up, and I was on tour, and I had this crack on my voice, and I was trying to hit the high notes, and I was losing, and it was a real strain to hit it. I was like, what the hell is going on? And then the next morning I woke up, and I was like, good morning. I'm dreaming of a life. So yeah, it was a weird period. But anyway, My Way, Frank Sinatra. Hi, Chris. How are you?
Fine. I wanted to ask you about your accent. You have such a wonderful accent to listen to when you're speaking, but you don't hear so much good when you're singing. So how does that change for you? And also, if you don't speak Irish, which some people don't, how do they learn lyrics in Irish?
Yeah, I remember. I'll say first. I know the singing part. A lot of people say that to me, and it happens to probably 90% of singers. I mean, you know, in a few words, you'll hear, like, you know, a little twist or a little bit of an accent, but you're right, it kind of disappears, which is weird. I really don't know. I don't know why that is. You know, I wish I could talk the way I sing sometimes. I said it last night, I'll say it again. If I ever go for a TV show and I have to play an American kid, I could forget about it. So I don't know how to answer that question. It's always been like that since I was a kid. Apart from a few words, accent disappeared. And it would be a little weird anyway. I mean, singing, like, the way I talk, would be strange. But anyway, learning that Irish, I learned the whole song in Irish, in a version of the full one, in Irish. And at the time I was in school, that dreaded place. And I was learning Irish. I learned Irish for 3 or 4 years, actually. And I, Glee, thank you very much. Clearly, I did a great job in everything. But I learned it for 3 or 4 years. And I was actually alright at the time. It wasn't bad. It didn't stick. Pretty terrible now. But I had a teacher help me out. Phil knows a few people who was in my school. And kind of hooked them up and sat through them for a couple hours. And just learned it. Just worked hard at it. Got it down. Recorded it. And I just kept listening to it for the tour and sang it. I don't know what it meant, but I just sang it. Hi, Billy. You look incredibly happy. How are you?
Love Chicago. How excited are you about Wall City Records starting and your work with Lauren music?
Yes, Wall City Records is, for those of you who don't know, is a new local record label which I've just opened with my best mate back home, Orno Carl. And it's actually the second business we opened in the past 4 months. We also opened a recording studio in Derry City called Audio Booth. And so it's kind of been a crazy few months. Honestly, I kind of came to a point where after Glee finished last year, the season, for me constantly doing the whole showbiz thing for like 6 years running, I was honestly feeling really burnt out. Like I was like, for a stage, I was like, I need time away, like I need a break. So I guess instead of taking a break, I decided to open 2 businesses, which still don't make much sense. But yeah, Wall City Records it's a record label. And our plan is to bring those talented people I've been talking about in Derry that don't really have a chance. I want to bring them on to this label through the following that I've gathered over the years, kind of promote them to them and kind of just get them out to the world and give them some sort of chance and give their career and their life a chance and yeah, get their music to the world. So that's the plan for that. And the YouTube channel, yes, stay tuned for that.
So I know you probably get this asked a lot, but your American accent when you do it is like super sexy. So I was wondering if you could just do like a couple things.
Oh God. For some reason, every time I speak American, it goes southern. It's like southern. Hey guys, here I am today in Chicago. It's a real pleasure for me to be here. I just want to say thank you all for your hospitality today, and it's been a real honor. Yeah.
That's Midwestern accent.
Western,
Midwestern.
Midwestern?
Yeah.
It's Cameron.
Mark Anthony?
Hi there.
Mr. Mark Anthony, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Good.
I'm actually from Detroit, so it's
Hard feels.
Come back to Detroit.
I'll come back. I mean, it's always, you always need to plug going a little bit, a little danger in your life.
I work with multicultural and international students, so I was really excited on Glee to see you portray an international student.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering what that meant for you to represent that population.
Yeah, it meant a lot because I believe there was a girl the year before, Charisse, is that right? That's Charisse?
Yes.
Yes. We've met a few times, a gorgeous girl, but yeah, it meant a lot. I mean, it was a weird experience to have that honor of, pretty much being one of the first international students on Glee. And yeah, because I know how it has such a huge international following, all over the world. And yeah, it was a real honor. It was great for me to get to represent those people, and an absolute privilege. So it was a lot of fun.
Damian, phenomenal show last night.
Thank you, sir.
Mr. Colton. You might have alluded to this earlier, but I've been wondering, and I want to inform a little bit as to where this question comes from. I went to university in the southern part of our state. We had a director of our physical education department whose name was Bill O'Brien. Mr. O'Brien spent a number of years as a referee in our National Football League. I know you love the footy and the soccer. He would take his proceeds from the NFL refereeing jobs and use it to help young people. And he was known for saying frequently to people that there are no self-made men. People have to help you. And I was wondering, on any given day, from day to day of your life, while trying to still be you, on average, how many people have to help you?
Very good.
I mean, I think that That's interesting. On a day-to-day basis, you know, how many people need to help you. It's kind of, you know, you get to a stage, it goes with experience. You know, the less experience you have, naturally, the more help you're going to need. You know, for example, when I was 14 and started off, you know, I had people, you know, as if, you know, I had a walking stick, you know, helping me around the place, like people carrying me, like, you know, people like, Damian, are you okay? Like, Damian, are you okay? Like, you know, working with Phil, even, you know, Phil would also naturally have had to teach me a lot more back then than what he would now. And so it kind of goes with experience. So when you're least experienced, yeah, you need, I mean, you need, it is true, you do need, and particularly in this business, you need help. But you need help from the right people at the same time. It's not, you know, you don't go to, if someone can help you and, you know, they're not necessarily, you know, experienced or they think they can help you or whatever, that's not necessarily the right move. You need someone with an experienced background who does know what they're doing, who has, you know, a CV and proof of what they're doing. And if you have that behind you, then that obviously helps. And, you know, you're glad they take all the help you need. But as you get older, like, you know, for example, as you get older, when I started Glee, there wasn't, I mean, the Glee project, you know, there wasn't really much help in that. I mean, that was kind of a case of you were given the tools and, you know, all right, let's see how you do. Which, you know, some weeks didn't work out too well. And that was, I mean, that was a different story because that was a competition. But then leading out from that, and my very first day on set, I actually, the day before, was the first time that I ever seen Parliament, and I never met the cast until I was singing my very first song. The very first thing I did was Being Green. And one of the first things I did, I had no help at all. It was just a case of, you know, you were expected to do this because they had hired you. And I walked onto set. I had a dialogue scene with Heather Morris, which then she walked away from. And I was like staring longingly at her like, oh my God, I love you. And then the scene continued and I was shoved into a locker and fell to the ground. And I stood up and had to sing Being Green twice as fast in the speed as it normally is. Because what happens is they slow down things that happen around you, but you have to sing twice as quick. You have to lip sync twice as quick. So that was literally my first time seeing the set. That was literally the first thing I done. And that was no help. So as I say, that kind of, the help I received previous really kind of, you know, aided me in that situation, and the experience aided me in that situation. But you still go through days where you need help. I mean, everybody needs help in life, you know. It's not, no one can, you know, fight their own battles by themselves. It's not how life works. You know, all help, all good help is always welcome.
Selena? Hi, I'm Selena.
Hi, Selena, how are you?
I just wanted to know how you reacted when you found out you were going to be on the Glee project.
That was a long journey for me. It wasn't as simple as me as it was for all the American kids at all, because I had to gain an O1 visa, which for anybody who's tried it is the hardest visa to get. Because basically you're asking for permission as a solo artist to go out and earn money in America, and with no reputation and as a solo artist with no reputation, that's really hard. So I literally got the visa like an hour before the deadline. Like Robert Ulrich rang me so many times. He was like, I'm sorry, this isn't going to work out. And I was actually on a cruise ship at the time in the middle of the Pacific. And I was in my cabin, and don't even talk, I had a bill for about $2,000 because of that phone. But he rang me and I was in the middle of the Pacific, and I says, Damian, listen, you know, we're sending the tapes to Ryan now to pick the top 12. And we can't send away your kid from the callbacks because, you know, your visa's not going to come through. We don't want to waste his time. So you know, I could prove the visa was going to be through on time. So I said, there's nothing I could do. So I sat in that cab and I thought to myself, I actually went in the bathroom, I looked myself in the mirror, I says, how much do you want this? And I said, right, I'm going to have faith in God here, believe this is going to work. I rang Robert back. I said, Robert, it was Friday evening. I said, Robert, can you leave it till Monday morning? I says, can you wait until Monday morning? I says, I'm asking you a huge favour. And I said, yeah, Sunday night, the visa came through. Yeah. Faith.
Allie?
Hi, I'm Allie.
You're happy. That's not right.
I was just wondering, who was your favorite mentor on the Glee project?
Favorite mentor on Glee? Aubrey Jones. Aubrey Jones, she plays Coach Beast on Glee.
Yes.
She is such a sweetheart. It's not even funny. She's one of the nicest people I've ever met. And like for such, for such a strong lady, and she really holds herself well. She's such a sweetheart and just really gentle, and you would believe it. And I mean, she was one of the only people that, like probably genuinely spent time with us. Like she actually came to the music video shoot and like went for lunch with us, and just constantly giving us advice. And yeah, that was actually I didn't really know what advice to get, because I'll never forget that week. It's a funny story. That was week 3 of the Glee project. We sang on the board with vulnerability, the theme. And I remember what normally happened was you sing the theme, and then you get your homework song, and you would film it the next morning in front of the judge. And it was like 4 or 5 days an episode shoot. So we got our theme, and we didn't do anything. We just, went to like CBS, bought magazines, and then went to bed. And I remember me and Cameron were sitting on top of bed looking at each other, and he said to me, "Dude," and I said, "No, we're in the bottom 3 this week." That was before the week started. We just knew. We just like, it's not against anybody else, but like I just didn't have necessarily anything that I was really insecure about. I've always been a person that just happy in my own skin, living life, enjoying it, and you can think what you think, and I'll just carry on, whatever. So Cameron's the same, and needless to say, I didn't know what to write on my board. I don't know where it all came from. Cameron wrote misunderstood. There's only so many adjectives in the world. But needless to say, we were in the bottom 3. So.
I'm thinking we might do about 2 more. That's okay. And then I'm not sure you guys are ready to do a meet and greet. Pictures.
Those are long.
Yeah. Who's really ready? What's your name?
Zach.
Hi, Zach.
What was the moment you needed to win the Glee project? Was there a specific moment where you're like, okay, I actually can do it? Because we were all like, everyone that I was watching with, we got like big groups in my house. And we're like, we just keep rooting for him, and we're like, he has to win.
Yeah.
But was there a moment you knew? You're like, okay, I got this.
There was definitely a moment. I mean, honestly, the whole time I had not necessarily a sneaky suspicion that I would win, but even from day one, I remember the way it started off for me was I was just finishing a tour with Celtic, which was actually my very last tour, which I didn't know about. And I remember my last show where I was, had signs for, Paul, like bye Paul. Little did I know that it was my last show as well, and Phil's last show, which was just crazy. But and Robert rang me about 2 weeks before the show finished and said, "Listen, we've seen your tape that you put on MySpace or whatever, and there's this Glee reality show coming up. As soon as this is reality show, I said, I'm fine. I don't want to do a reality show. It's not me." But he explained it to me, and I sat down and I had to think about it. And because it was for 4 years I'd spent time trying to build a reputation for myself and to throw it all away, which I nearly did, proclaiming that I was Jesse's girl. To throw all that away would have been a sore thing to have. But I sat down and I took a calculated risk and I went for it. I remember the moment, the visa coming through, I thought to myself, is this meant to be? What is this? And then the moment that I was like, right, excuse my language, shit, I'm going to win this show. All right, Damian, you're going home. Oh, no, you're not. The camera just quit. I was like, all right. God, you made it clear, keeper's creeper, what do you want me to do? So, yeah, that was the moment for me. I was like, right, if I work hard enough for this, I think my name is on this thing. So I just went for it. And, out of luck and love of God, it was meant to be. Let's get hot in here. Hi, Libby.
Hi. I was wondering, what's the craziest fan encounter you've ever had?
This girl took her top off once. It was really awkward. Really awkward. I'm trying to think. I've got is, I mean, it's like you need to be 25 to hear some of the things that's written to me. It's really, there's some, you know, I really appreciate support. Like, I love knowing that, you know, like, you know, maybe I inspire you, or you love my music, or you love my Glee, or Celtic film, or, you know, whatever. But like, you know, I don't love your dreams necessarily. Like you're dreaming about it, like that's kind of thing. There's like a line. Way past the line. The emails are quite extreme. An actual fan encounter, you get people that, you know, they don't mean any harm, but it's funny when you have like a security guard like this. But it's, I mean, walking about, there was one time that myself and Cameron had a girl that was following us, and like following us back to her house, and like, that was one of the weird ones. And the following is a little scary, because like, you don't know, like, yeah, like they might be supportive, or they might, you know, knife in their back pocket. Hopefully not. But yeah, there's a few crazy ones. Disney, I went to Disney a couple of months ago, and that was insane. I love Disney, but I'll never go again. It was crazy.
Let's give them a big hand. We've got some posters that Damian can sign. Those are $10 each, or if you want to get your picture taken, but I want to do it kind of in a great order. So I've got some girls helping me out in the corner, but first, I don't know one.